Support for podcasts comes from Milwaukee School of Engineering Center for Professional Education, offering courses in AI machine learning, project management, and more. Program information at msoe.edu/CPE.
You're listening to Lake Effect Spotlight from WUWM, Milwaukee's NPR station. Here's one of our favorite conversations about what's happening in the city.
The library is more than just books, and our Books and Beyond series with the Milwaukee Public Library showcases just that. We share resources, book recommendations, and some cool stuff you might not know about. For this edition of Books and Beyond, we're learning about an early literacy program called ABC Academy offered at the Central Library branch. This program hopes to help fill Milwaukee's literacy gap. Since 2009, our public school literacy rates have fallen, and just this year, MPS launched a new plan to try and turn these rates around. The library's ABC Academy program is for young readers to help with kindergarten readiness. The program goes beyond your typical story time and focuses on different activities to help build on letter recognition. To share more, I'm joined by Central Library's Children's Room librarian, Erin Sloan, and Milwaukee artist Wave Chapelle, who is here today not as a musician, but as a dad helping his son learn to read. Sloan begins by explaining what ABC Academy is and how it was developed.
Yeah, so I used to work at the Wake County Public Libraries in North Carolina, and I was one of the library staff who sort of helped cultivate this program. It was designed by a different librarian, but then we were brought in to sort of help it grow. And when I came to Milwaukee, I knew I wanted to do something similar, make it a little more specific to here, and then there were some other small changes that I wanted to make that I thought could work a little better. And so over the course of 7 years, we finally got it greenlit, and we've started last summer. And it's a program that is an early literacy, kindergarten readiness program that focuses on letter recognition. So every week, it's a new letter. We go in alphabetical order, and it's all the uppercase letters followed by all of the lowercase letters.
Excellent. And I understand you incorporate something called the 5 practices. What are those, and why is it key to help with this early stages of reading?
Yeah, so the 5 practices were developed by the American Library Association, and they are talking, singing, reading, writing, and playing. And those we talk about in all of our programs, especially for children, young children across the board. Those 5 things, again, talking, singing, reading, writing, and playing, if you incorporate those into your daily life, it's shown to really increase your child's early literacy rates. So this program specifically, I wanted to make sure that we kind of step on each one of those. And so there's a different section of the program that highly incorporates one of the 5 practices.
So let's kind of walk through an example.
Yeah.
Let's start with the beginning of the alphabet. We're going with the capital letter A. What kind of activities do you have to hit on those 5 practices for kids?
Yeah, so we open the program up where we are talking about the letter of the week. The person leading the program will give the children hints with other words that start with that letter. When the children guess, or even if they don't guess, we'll eventually reveal what the letter of the week is, discuss the sounds it makes phonetically, and then what it looks like. When you see it on the page, we'll have them use their fingers to make it in the air. Then we'll read a book that's a little longer that really highlights that one specific letter. And then we'll move the children from the reading area, the storytime circle, to a different part of the room to kind of highlight, again, that kindergarten aspect of moving around the room, where we'll go to a craft time. They'll have to write the letter on the page. Then they'll use scissors to cut the letter out. Then they'll color the letter, do whatever they want to make it into, let's say, A is for apple. They'll kind of turn the A somewhat into an apple or something that looks apple-esque. And then when their product is finished, they'll go to the play area. So then there's movement again into a different part of the room. They're playing together. And then when that part is over, there's show and tell. And then we sing the alphabet song, and we close the program out. So we're really, in about 45 minutes to an hour, able to incorporate all 5 of those practices.
I love that. A lot of, it sounds like repeating and reinforcing with different activities.
Repetition is one of the most important factors in early literacy. Singing the same songs or the same tunes with different words, all of that is really vital to helping kids learn to read.
That's great to know. Now, Wave, you're here not as a musician and artist today. You're here as a dad.
Absolutely.
So can you share a bit about how you were first navigating, these early stages of literacy when you're like, I think it's time to get involved and show my son some things. What were you kind of thinking? Because it's a lot to take on.
Absolutely. Just piggybacking kind of off of what Erin was saying, just a lot of songs, a lot of singing. When my son, his name is Saul, when he was born, we would sing to him. And, you would get books from like family and like gifts and things like that. And we would always get books. And initially he was always drawn to like the colors. And of course, when he's able to like, kind of talk and mouth out the words a little bit. So again, just singing, repetition, reading to him before bed or in the morning, things like that, and just kind of just diving right into it,
Yeah. And I understand you go to MLK branch pretty often,
Yes.
and they have helped reinforce some of these practices. What kind of resources have you been using at the library?
Mainly just honestly the books. He loves the books, and he knows specifically. I love it so much because the library is just so resourceful, and you can find exactly what you're looking for. Like when he goes, he's like, I want Eric Carle,
Yes.
and we can go and find like all these specific books that he loves, and I think that just raises the excitement of it, and just keeps him wanting to continue to come, and so I think it's awesome.
You mentioned Eric Carle. What other favorite books or activities do you guys like to do together?
He's definitely heavy on the puzzles as well. Like I like to do we have these like ABC puzzles, so it has the letters on them. But so you kind of like work in two things at once. You're like, the repetition of doing the ABCs and having the letters, but also, using the tool like, piecing these puzzles together, and just the activity of it. So just the puzzles, and then again, the books the books all day. Eric Carle, he's really into Pete the Cat. Heavy on Pete the Cat.
This is kind of a question for both of you, but as a parent, what kind of extra tools are you looking for to make sure like you're continuing the right practices outside of library time? And then Erin, like what would you recommend or reinforce with that?
I would just say just keeping it up at home, the same things that you find that your kid likes to do at the library, go and find those things maybe at the store and bring them to, or even get them from the library, take them home and just kind of keep reinforcing those same things at the house, whether it's, again, doing the ABCs or doing certain activities, reading these same books or even trying new books. One thing that me and my son are doing now, I have him for every day of the month. So this is February, so 28 books. Had him fill a crate of 28 books. We read 2 a day and add those books to an empty crate, and we just read until those books are done. So just certain activities like that to keep them going.
Yeah, all of that is amazing. We, in our story time specifically, we do something called asides, which are kind of tips and tricks for parents to practice at home, and we do them in ABC Academy as well. Just kind of little reminders of how you can extend this, or maybe why we're speaking in a certain way, or why we've repeated a song so many times. So if you come to a library program, always keep your ears out for that, because they are very helpful tips about why we're doing what we're doing. And anything that you really like you see at the library, like you were mentioning, trying to emulate that at home. We have a lot of like sensory bins and puzzles and things like that, which are always great for those things that maybe you don't recognize as early literacy, but in the long run, they actually are.
Right. I think that's the key, is like you might not know what you're practicing is going to help with literacy in the long run. So when parents are coming to ABC Academy, I understand you kind of structure it like a kindergarten class, so the parents are more hands-off, right?
Yeah, we really emphasize that, your child will very soon, or maybe is already in school, where you're not there to kind of guide them. And, when they're doing specifically the craft part, it can be hard for all of us, all the adults in the room, to watch a child do with scissors what they're going to do with scissors. But, the reality is there's 1 or 2 teachers in a classroom who will not be able to, give one-on-one care. And so it's a good practice for kids to learn that independence. And also, like, cutting is such a specific skill that they will need to learn in kindergarten or K4, K5. And it's very fun to watch. And it's also a good, reminder for parents that your kid always becoming a little more independent, and it's fun to watch them do that.
Absolutely. And as far as feedback, what has it been like? I mean, I know you mentioned you had launched this at a different state library and had adjusted some things for Milwaukee. So what have you been hearing, seeing, noticing? Yeah,
we've had really good feedback, really good turnouts every week. What we love about the program specifically is Saturdays we're a little shorter staffed, and we can, all the librarians librarians and reference staff are trained to do the program, so we can kind of all jump in at a moment's notice, which makes it lovely for us. And then it's great because we all get to know all of the kids who keep coming back, because we've really built up a good group of regulars who are coming and are excited each week to see what the next letter is. We've had, I think, at least 2 or 3 kids who I think have been to almost every letter at this point, which is really exciting. And then, every week building more and more of that base. And it's so fun to watch the program flourish as it has.
How do you hope this program will set kind of a different precedent in helping to fill this literacy gap in Milwaukee specifically? You said that you adjusted some things to work better here. So what were some of those examples?
Yeah, the biggest one for me was that when we were doing it previously, the direction the letter went on the page kind of didn't matter as much. So like A was for alligator, where we had to flip the A on its side to make the letter look like an alligator. And so I was really specific and intentional, like we need to make sure that how this letter looks on the page is exactly how they will see it, like in their craft. And then when they're reading, it needs to be exact. And that was something I was really vocal about there, and I'm so happy that we've been able to handle that here. And then also being really intentional about the books that we choose that correlate with the word or the letter of the week. And I think kind of focusing in on those 2 things have really helped us make the program stronger in my mind.
Now, Wave, I understand outside of just being a patron for yourself and your son at the library, you're going to be working with the library a bit to help with this program?
Absolutely. Again, just bringing my son through and working on some content. You know what I mean? We want to put some content together and really just get the word out there that this is a thing. And this is, we want to encourage all the parents, not just the older parents, young parents, bring your kids. And because this is a very beneficial program. And I just think it's really great work. And so, we're gonna put our creative skills together, put some really cool content videos together in promotion of this.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. So, Erin, we've been talking about this program for people listening who have young kiddos who are wanting to get involved to come to ABC Academy. How did they do that?
Yeah, so right now the program is being offered at the Central Library. It's every Saturday. We almost run it entirely year-round. There are some, bigger programs that take precedence, like our summer reading program kickoff. But for the most part, every Saturday, rain or shine, we will be there. It's at 10:30 in the morning, and it runs for about 45 minutes to an hour. Right now, it is only at the Central Library, but we are currently trying to figure out the best way to bring it to the branch libraries. So hopefully, at least in the north side of Milwaukee, central, and then south side of Milwaukee, we'll be able to offer it. My hope is within this year, but that might be a little lofty, but we'll see. But yeah, Central Library at 10:30 every Saturday.
And just in case there's, conflicts in schedules, maybe Saturdays don't work for everyone, what other group activities are at the library that parents can attend?
Yeah, so all of our branch libraries have story time, and we have it for different ages. So we've got baby story time. We have sort of a toddler story time called Playgroup with Stories, which is a 25-minute story time, and then there's playtime with toys at the end. And then we also have family story time, and there's variations within there, but each one is sort of created to target that specific age group. So the books that you read, the songs that you sing, the toys that you play with will all be for those specific age groups. And again, those are at all of our libraries throughout the week, and most of them are in the morning during the weekday, but we do have a couple branch libraries who offer them in the evening as well.
Great. And Wave, you've done a few story times?
Yeah, absolutely. We've gone to a few story times, and he absolutely loves them, and I think story time in general is just good for kids because, one, they get to sit with a bunch of other kids and just, hear this cool story, and, they get to take away things. You ask, hey, what was your favorite part of the book, or what was your favorite part of the story? And I think that is another thing that just really excites kids,
And Wave, for you, working with your son, doing these activities, what's some of the most gratifying moments and takeaways you have?
Just watching the excitement, honestly. Like, he just has so much fun with these different activities. And you truly, as a parent, you just get to sit back and kind of watch them grow in front of you. From not being able to pronounce apple to, knowing it off the back when they see it, or just all these different words and letters that they're coming across. I think that's the most gratifying part, is just watching the growth.
Well, I look forward to seeing this program grow as well. So, Erin and Wave, thank you so much for coming in today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Erin Sloan is a librarian at the Central Library Children's Room, and Wave Chapelle is a Milwaukee artist and dad who'll be working with the library to spread the word about ABC Academy. For more information on the program and other library resources, head on over to wuwm.com. And if you haven't explored our education reporter Catherine Kokel's series on literacy, you can also find her work and additional literacy resources on our website.
That was the Lake Effect Spotlight podcast. It comes from WUWM, Milwaukee's NPR station. Lake Effect is WUWM's talk show all about what's happening in the city. If you want to hear more conversations like this, subscribe to the Lake Effect Spotlight podcast, and you'll hear highlights from the show. If you want to hear the full show, it's on the radio at noon, Monday through Friday, on 89.7.
This is Tanya Mosley, co-host of Fresh Air. You'll see your favorite actors, directors, and comedians on late-night TV shows or YouTube. But what you get with Fresh Air is a deep dive. Spend some quality time with people like Billie Eilish, Questlove, Ariana Grande, Stephen Colbert, and so many more. We ask questions you won't hear asked anywhere else. Listen to the Fresh Air podcast from NPR and WHYY.